Eden Ridge, Nebraska, a town where nothing changed, and everyone liked it that way. No crime, no traffic, just dusty roads, rusted signs, and a diner that still served cherry pie like it was 1962. 16-year-old Emily Monroe knew every crack in the sidewalk between school and home, every porch light that flickered, every house with a dog that barked at nothing. But by the end of that summer, even Eden Ridge would start to rot. It began with the corn. The Monroe farm sat on the edge of the biggest field in the county, hundreds of acres of golden stalks, tall as two grown men and dense as fog. For most of Emily's life, it was background noise, a place of cicadas and tractors. But in August, the corn grew strange. It moved, not with the wind, but against it, twitching, jittering, like something alive inside was trying to push its way out. She first noticed it during dinner. Outside the kitchen window, the fields bent in places where no breeze touched. Her dog, Toby, froze mid-chew, growled low, then whined and darted under the table. Her dad chuckled. "Coyote." Emily didn't answer. Her gaze stayed fixed on the stalks, on the place where they moved like lungs, breathing. That night, the red fog came. It wasn't natural. It didn't roll in. It slithered, low and hungry, like it knew where to go. It pooled at the base of the corn and stretched up the Monroe driveway. Emily locked the windows. Toby scratched at the back door until his paws bled. At 3:17 a.m., something knocked. Not on the front door, from the kitchen. Emily crept from her room, barefoot and shaking. The hallway groaned under her weight. She moved slowly, flashlight in hand, past family photos that looked too still, too posed. Another knock, from inside. She stepped into the kitchen and froze. The bird cage in the corner was rattling violently. Her parrot, Sam, was inside, wide-eyed, feathers puffed. The cage door was latched, secure. She moved closer. The knocking stopped. The silence was worse. In the morning, Sam was gone. The cage was still closed. Her father said she must have left it open. Her mother shrugged. Birds fly away, that's what they do. Emily didn't argue. She was too busy listening. At night, the knocks returned. And behind them something worse, a sound like metal on bone, a quiet, high-pitched whine, like a knife sharpening in the dark. She went to Father Alton at the church. He didn't laugh. Instead, he gave her something, a small chain of silver bells. "Hang these above your bed," he said. "The sound drives back things that don't belong." That night she hung them on her curtain rod. They jingled once, then again. Then came the whisper. It wasn't a voice, it was inside her head, cold, slithering. Emily couldn't sleep. 3 days later, Mason showed up at her window. He looked pale, sweaty, his shirt torn. "I went back," he whispered. "Back where?" "To the hollow." His hands trembled. "Something lives there." She let him in. He didn't sleep, just sat in the corner, eyes on the floor. By morning he was gone again, but this time he left behind something on her nightstand, a piece of burlap cloth stitched with red thread in a wide, horrible grin. And outside, in the field, something moved against the light. Not in the corn, above it, A shape, tall, human, but not. Emily's story was just beginning, and Eden Ridge was already dying. Emily didn't tell anyone about the figure above the corn. No one would believe her anyway. Her parents were too busy arguing about the harvest, her teachers were tired, checked out, and Mason was gone again, just like the first time. But every night the silver bells above her bed rang, softly at first, then violently, as if something invisible brushed past them. She stopped sleeping. The air in her room grew heavier, like it was watching her, breathing with her. Then came the voice again, only now it had a shape, a face. She saw it reflected in the dark screen of her phone. Black eyes, thin skin like stretched leather, a grin too wide for any human mouth. It flickered and vanished, but the impression stayed, burned into her brain like an afterimage from a lightning strike. She tried to tell Father Alton. He gave her holy water and a small crucifix. He also gave her a name, the Hollow Man. An old legend, he said, born from grief, fed by guilt. It waits in places people forget, fields, basements, attics, empty corners of small towns. It mimics your voice, your dead, your doubts. Emily's hands trembled. Why me? Father Alton looked away. Because something followed you back from the corn. That weekend, she went looking for Mason. She found him in the woods behind town, barefoot, covered in scratches, muttering to himself. Mason! He turned too slowly. Emily, he whispered. I buried it. I swear I did. Buried what? He pointed to his chest. The doll. She thought he was delirious, but he wasn't, not entirely. He led her deeper into the forest, to a clearing surrounded by dead trees. At the center was a ring of scorched earth. There, buried beneath a pile of rotted hay and animal bones, was a burlap doll, about 3 feet tall, humanoid, crudely stitched, with one red button eye and nails driven into its hands. It whispers, Mason said, even underground. Even when you can't hear it. It finds you in your dreams first, then it finds your door. Emily shivered. I burned it twice. It came back, each time closer. Mason began to cry. I think it wants you now. That night she didn't sleep. She waited, flashlight clutched tight. The bells rang, but this time they didn't stop. They spun furiously, clinking in panic. Then they fell. Not just down, they exploded off the curtain rod like something ripped them away. Emily screamed. Toby barked from downstairs, then whimpered, then went silent. She ran. The kitchen light flickered. The cage was back, but not the bird. Inside, twitching slowly, was a new shape. Burlap, thread, a crooked smile sewn across its face. The parrot's feathers were inside it, stuffed like insulation. Emily collapsed to her knees, gagging. She knew what this meant. It was in. The next morning, her parents were gone, their car still in the driveway, phones left behind, the front door ajar. Inside, the house felt abandoned, but it wasn't empty. Scratched into the walls over and over, bring him back. She ran to the church. It was burning. Smoke poured from the steeple. Fire trucks hadn't arrived. The sky above was choked red, and through the stained glass window she swore she saw Father Alton's silhouette, bent backward, hands raised, mouth open, in a silent scream. That night, Emily packed a bag and went back to the cornfield. She didn't know what she expected. A ritual? A sacrifice? She only knew one thing. The Hollow Man wanted something. Maybe someone. She reached the center of the field just before midnight. The moon hung low and swollen, bathing the field in a blood-tinged light. There it was, the same clearing Mason had shown her, but now it was different. The doll was gone. In its place stood a house, not a real house, a miniature one, like a dollhouse, identical to hers. She opened it. Inside, little versions of her family sat posed at a tiny dinner table, her mother's head twisted unnaturally, her father's eyes replaced with buttons, and Emily's figurine, laying in bed, mouth sewn shut. From behind her the stalks parted. Something stepped into the clearing. It was tall, slender, dressed in rotted fabric, its face featureless at first, then shimmered into something familiar. Mason, then her father, then Sam the parrot with an open beak and human teeth, then her own face. It spoke without moving. Trade, trade, trade. Emily raised the crucifix. "You can't have me," it laughed. The corn bent backward, pushed by invisible hands. From behind the figure, others came, not fully formed, not solid, ghosts made of sorrow, of regret, of broken promises. Emily closed her eyes and began to scream. Epilogue. The whispers remain. They found her 2 days later, wandering the highway barefoot, covered in scratches, eyes unfocused. She wouldn't speak, not for weeks. Her parents were never found. Mason's name was carved into a tree behind her house, along with a new message. Emily eventually returned to school, quiet, different. She wore silver bells around her neck, and every time someone walked behind her too softly, she flinched. Some nights, people say they still hear whispers coming from the corn. Others claim to see a tall, shadowed figure watching from the field's edge. The town says it's just wind, but Emily knows the truth. Some trades never end.